Belarusian Video Center presents. Film from the series The Jungles of Chernobyl, 20 Years Without the Man. The Neighbors. May brings us the spring holidays. The days are bright and sunny. Not long ago, May used to turn everything around us in red bunting color. Yet the colors got softer and more natural nowadays. Although here, in the Chernobyl zone, the color red remains and will stay the most noticeable one. Here it is the color of caution and danger. Half-transparent boundaries between allowed and not allowed are represented here by checkpoints of the Polesye, or Marshy Woodlands Radio Ecological Reserve. Naturally, such points are designed for people. Animals do not need them whatsoever. Animals and birds are masters of the zone, and our neighbors too. As on a chessboard, rows watchtowers here near every checkpoint, as well as all around the reserve. In the course of years, they have proved to be the most efficient for monitoring life inside the zone. We wanted to enjoy every opportunity to raise our camera up the watchtower and shoot the reserve from above. It is exactly here, right above, where the grandeur and beauty of this land comes in its unique and virgin sight. The Polesye Reserve, covering the area of about 130,000 hectares, was founded back in 1988 in the Belarusian sector of the 30-kilometer zone of the Chernobyl nuclear power station. In 1993, its area was enlarged up to 215,500 hectares. It has three parts: Koiniki, Komarin, and Narovla sections encompassing 16 forestries altogether. Koiniki being the administrative center of it. The experimental and research facilities are based in the evacuated village of Bobchin, while radio-ecological monitoring is based at the research station Masany, bordering with Ukraine, actually 10 kilometers away from the Chernobyl nuclear power station. Daily scheduled activities on monitoring of natural complexes and animal population are held in all the 16 forestries here, and also up and down Belarus. 600 hectares are under young wood. Here, just like in all other natural reserves, they keep the nature from fire. Well, not like all others, actually. Fire in the zone is not just a burned-down forest. It is also radioactive ashes, or the Black Death, that can be gone with the wind anywhere, thus making the list of the Chernobyl victims longer. This is why the work of the reserve personnel somehow resembles the footage of a war movie. One's mistake can be a fatal flaw. They have no mercy for their own fear. There are more than 60 fire reservoirs, thousands of kilometers of forest shelter belts, watchtowers with 24-hour duty and 6 checkpoints. This is Khanty-Mansiysk, the central estate of the reserve. There are rifles and carabines behind the door with the alarm system. This is the shooter of the hunting squad. The man grabs a rifle and shoots an elk, a wild boar or a fox. They are neither a hunting trophy nor meat for cooking. All things remain untouched apart from several dozens of internal organ samples. The animals living their settled existences in the zone do not recognize any borders. They roam from the exploded power station to the nearest settlements, crossing all possible obstacles and barriers. They do meadows and fields, carrying in themselves radioactive cartridges 40 times exceeding the norm. Animals born near the sarcophagus can be shot down by a hunter living in hundreds of miles from the zone. Birds that abandoned their nests and fattened out in the fields, meadows and canals of the zone scatter around in thousands of kilometers from the epicenter. How serious is the threat of such animals and birds for us, the people? This is why, in order to be aware of the radiation spread out, the man grabs a rifle and shoots an elk, a wild boar or a fox. They are neither a hunting trophy nor meat for cooking. Sometimes we say that the reserve has been working for the future of mankind. These people, hunters, foresters and research workers, take the risk of their lives, gathering the material that can help to define the amount of radioactive impact on humans, birds or animals. Dozens of people have been working here to find out what has happened to both the quadrupeds and the feathered alike, the ones for whom the Chernobyl zones turned into their native land. They don't go fishing here. And what can happen to us? They don't go fishing here. They just do the capture of fish. All the nets are sealed. Any catch is to be sealed too before going for the lab tests. They catch fish for the same purpose of defining the amount of radionuclides in their organs and tissues. It turns out that all the fish in the river Pripyat with its flowing waters are clean, while the landlocked reservoirs are the home of those completely contaminated with the radiation. And how? God forbid eating any piece of them, especially those from the ponds close to the Chernobyl power station. That was our typical watch up on the tower, a camera with us. We were enjoying the scenery and our eyes were intent. What if an elk or a wild boar showed up in the distance?
Экипаж на выезд. Выезд разрешаю.
Not the animals but smoke showed up there over one of the villages. Any fire, wherever it happens, is a disaster, especially in the Chernobyl zone. When a fire occurs in the village, all the neighbors rush over to help, old and young alike. When a house takes fire in the zone, the neighbors will never come. To extinguish that fire, emergency control crew from the Polesye Natural Reserve will arrive. This is why they are on duty here 24 hours a day. A fire in a typical village is just ashes. A fire in the zone is a cloud of radioactive ashes. Where will it be carried away? Where will this cloud fall over as a radioactive calamity? When you ask a staff member of the reserve how the year has passed, you would hear the answer that much ignitions, fires, or burnt out square kilometers of the woods. When there were few, the year has been a success. The year has been bad with numerous fires. The year 2005 was quite safe. There were practically no fires. They put out every ignition very quickly. Yet a tragedy happened on the eve of the winter. The peat bog blazed up, very close to the Ukrainian border and the Chernobyl station. Those who have ever tried to extinguish such a fire do know that it's extremely difficult to kill the flames. Sometimes peat bogs smolder even in the winter. The workers of the reserve had been struggling with that fire calamity from dusk till dawn 7 days in a row, changing the shifts. We came to the smoking peat bog when it was practically conquered. The hearth of the fire was cut off along the perimeter of a ditch. They put water along it, thus blocking the fire from spreading. We had been shooting the fire crew actions for almost 90 minutes. The Geiger counter was showing the digits we had never seen in 2 years. But it could have been worse. Can you imagine that the bog and all of its peat turned into radioactive ashes? Every fire in the zone is a so-called new Chernobyl disaster. New flames, ashes, and a burst of radiation. It could have happened, but for those people. They did their duty once again, just as the soldiers of war were doing it in the front line. The people working in the Polesye Radiological Reserve come to work there every day, and every evening one of them has to be doing the duty up on the watchtower. Every single day, all year round, that we all could sleep securely.